Ciao, and welcome back to Pastamore, Pasta with Love. I'm Chef Joe Mele, and welcome to day 3 of our pasta lessons. Today we're going to take our familiar pasta dough that we created in lesson 1, and we're going to turn it into Pasta Ripiena. What does that mean in English? Simply filled pastas or stuffed pastas. What I'm talking about here is your pastas we've come to know as lasagna, cannelloni, which by the way is the correct terminology for what the New York Italians like to call manigot. Alright, so cannelloni is cheese-filled pasta tube. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to make a fresh cannelloni, and the ever popular ravioli, which is going to be kind of like the star of today's dish. I'm going to pair that with a fresh Salsa Di Pomodoro, which we're going to go through a little bit later. In addition to ravioli, I'm going to show you how to make a few variations of filled pastas: tortellini, agnolotti, tortelloni, triangolo, capelletti. The list goes on and on and on. We're still scratching the surface. Every single region in Italy has their own version of some form of filled pasta. So these are the more popular ones, the things you may run across every day. So how do we get started? Like I said, we take our fresh pasta dough. Again, we're going to cut it into 4 pieces. And I ask you why. If you remember, that's because we don't want to tax or overburden the machine. By the way, something I didn't cover in day 1 about pasta making: don't try to take a dough mixer with a dough hook and create pasta dough. You will again try to really overtax and overburden the motor. It's not a pizza dough. It's a very tough, firm dough. Alright, so we're going to get our pasta down into that manageable piece again. Right, with a little bit of our durum flour, ever present. Okay, so we're going to go back to the machine and roll out our sfoglia. Remember the term sfoglia, right? That is a fresh pasta sheet. And we're going to sprinkle as before, and continue on down. Again, I'm going to go till I feel the consistency is perfect. In this case, it's going to be about to number 6. I'm really trying to stretch the width of this dough, because later on, when it comes time to make ravioli, I'm going to need the full width of this sheet in order to get the perfect ravioli. Those of you who haven't cranked out your pasta machines out of the closet or went to the store and bought a pasta roller, I think the time is now, don't you? Comes a time after we watch these videos, we actually got to start putting this into action. I could do this all day, but then it's not helping you. So you need to actually get there and start making this. Alright, one more roll and we're there. Okay, again, another nice, beautiful sfoglia. Now, I'm going to square off, save, right, into my wrapped pasta. And I'm also going to sprinkle my board all the way down with the flour, because it's important that the dough moves on the dough board. Alright, now, semolina, we talked about in day 1, but I didn't show you it. You can see, it's like fine grains of sand. Same grain as the durum, only a little bit coarser. I'm going to use this in between my sheets today because I really don't want these to stick together. And then later on I'm going to sprinkle them on my sheet to keep my ravioli from sticking together. Alright, so I have my beautiful sfoglia. So, some of the basic forms of filled pastas, probably the most popular is lasagna. So, with your pressed pasta sheets, here's what you can do. I'm going to help you take a step of lasagna making out of the mix. Normally, when you go to make lasagna, you take dried pasta noodles, and you cook them, you drain them, you oil them to keep them sticking, blah, blah, blah. This time now you're going to take your fresh pasta sheet, get your lasagna pan, put plenty of sauce on the bottom, and then start layering your pasta sheets, then your filling, and then finish it until it's all filled. Now you can cook this in your lasagna raw without even cooking the sheets. This will save you considerable time and will produce a better product in the end. Alright? Another tip about lasagna making. You're going to get you need plenty of sauce to actually have the dough absorb that liquid. And when you're all filled, ready to bake, you're going to cover it first with plastic wrap. Then you're going to cover the plastic wrap with aluminum foil. Why do we do this? It helps to steam the lasagna as it bakes. It's going to keep that moisture, it's going to keep it super moist, it's going to help to cook the pasta in the lasagna. Alright? Now, the foil insulates the film wrap so that it doesn't melt during the baking process. Magic. Alright? First tip of the day. Alright, so take your sheets, right? No cook in your lasagna. Next, we're going to show you, I mentioned cannelloni, which is the Italian, the real Italian way of making a tubular filled pasta. Alright, so if we were to take that and cut it into, take our dough, cut it into a square, alright, this is our dough, cut into a square. Now, you cannot do this as a no cook. These must be cooked. So you boil your water, you cook these, right? Then you end up with a very cooked, pliable sheet of pasta. And here's what we do with that. Once our pasta squares are cooked, right, we're going to take, now I have, today we have a spinach cheese filling that I put in a pastry bag, a disposable pastry bag, one of the greatest inventions. If you don't have any, I would run out to your favorite, again, your favorite food or kitchen store and purchase some disposable pastry bags. They're a godsend. Alright, so I have my filling in here. I'm just going to snip an end. I'm going to sharpen my scissors next time. Alright, so what we do with our filling, we simply lay down our sheet and we go end to end with our filling, nice and tight like a crepe almost. We're going to roll, roll, roll. Now, that's a beautiful thing. Right, you're going to put this in a casserole dish with your favorite sauce, put it in the oven, bake it till it's hot all the way through, a little cheese up on top, and you're going to brown it under the broiler. You'll have a beautiful dish. Right, very simply done. Cannelloni. Alright, so far we got lasagna, we got cannelloni. Now, let's move into tortellini. We've all seen them, we probably never made them, I'm guessing, I don't know. But here's how I do it. I'm going to take a round cutter, okay, put a little flour, okay, and I'm going to cut out a round circle. For those of you who don't know about the story, supposed story, of how these came to be, there was an Italian chef who worked for a queen in the palace, I'm not even sure where, but anyway, he was so taken with the queen, so in love with the queen, that he wanted to make a food in her honor. So the story goes that he used to sneak up to her chambers and bend down, look through the keyhole and watch her, or try to watch her. But from the level of his eyes, all he could see through the keyhole was her belly button. So over time he decided to make a pasta in the shape of a belly button. True or not, you make up your mind. It's still a fun story. All right, so we have our circle, our così. We're going to put a little dollop of our filling, no matter what it is, cheese or meat, vegetable. Okay, I'm going to take my pastry brush, a little water is like our glue. Okay, I'm going to fold it in half and make a half moon or a mezzaluna. Okay, make sure you squeeze it together nice and tight. Okay, I have two ends. I'm going to take one end, bring it together, pinch, and we have ravioli, or tortellini, I'm sorry. Tortellini, the beautiful thing. Okay? Very simple. Now, many times we hear the term capelletti. Capelletti, tortellini. Everybody says, oh, same thing. Not really. There's a little bit of a difference between a capelletti and a tortellini. Capelletti are made using pasta squares instead of round. So, I'm going to make a square. Okay. Now, I'm going to wet my edges again. Okay. I'm going to put another little dollop in the center. Now, this time, instead of making a half moon, I'm going to come off center so that I create two peaks up on top. Okay? Now, when we turn this over, all we're going to do is join one end to the other, and what we have is something that looks like a bishop's cap up on top. Right? Thus the word capelletti. It's a little cap, a little bishop's cap that they used to wear in medieval days. Alright, so capelletti and tortellini, two different, similar but different. They can be used in the same exact way. Again, depends on the region where you're from in Italy. Alright, a couple other related filled pastas. We're going to take our round cutter again, dust a little flour. Now, again, a little glue, a little dollop. I love that word, dollop. I don't know why. Anyway, same thing. Okay, you're going to make that old mezzaluna once again, the half moon. This time we're not going to do anything with it. Okay, there are many cultures that share this form. The Polish, they have pierogies. Okay, the Chinese have dumplings. Whoops. So, what does it look like? Actually, Mexican or Latin cuisines, they have an empanada. Right? Same shape. We call that agnolotti. Now, in the future episodes, we're going to show you how to make a very specific agnolotti that looks nothing like this one. But that's down the road. Okay, agnolotti. Now, here comes a really, really difficult one. This one, I don't know if you can figure the name out by the shape, but we'll see. Alright, we're going to take a square, a large pasta square this time. Seal our edges. A little more filling in the center. Come straight across, corner to corner, and create a triangle. Imagine that. That was difficult, right? Well, the word for this is triangolo. Go figure. So, this, usually we serve one of these with your favorite sauce as an appetizer. Pasta triangolo. Okay? Another form of filled pasta. Alright, there is one more that I'm going to show you. And that is going to be a little bigger square. A little more filling in the center. Seal my edges. Okay, this time I am going like, I'm going to make just like a triangolo. Right? I'm going to make a small pasta triangle. And then what I'm going to do is take my edges, come down, pinch it in the back, and that becomes a tortelloni. Alright, so it's a very large tortellini. Okay, another version of yet still many different types of filled pastas. Which now brings us to probably the most common of the filled pastas, and that's the ravioli. If you have one ravioli, it's a raviolo. Plural, it's ravioli. Alright, so I need, again, dusting flour. Okay, now we're going to use our ravioli form. Alright, very simple apparatus, 12 holes with ridges and a little cover. Alright, so what I want to make sure, first of all, I need 2 pieces of dough about the length of my form. So I'm going to run this one in one more time through the roller, stretch it out again so I can ensure that I have a big enough pasta sheet or a sfoglia. Now I didn't do anything, I didn't go and change the setting. Simply by rolling it through again on that same last setting, I stretched it out a little bit longer. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, very important for our ravioli making, don't ever skip this step. You must liberally flour your form, otherwise you're not coming off. Okay? Now, we're going to lay one end of it down. Okay, let it overlap. I'm going to cut off my excess. Set this aside. Okay. Now I'm going to take this egg carton crate looking apparatus here. I'm going to push it gently to make indentations that's going to hold my pasta filling. Alright. So here's where the beauty of this pastry bag comes in. 1, 2, 3. So you can knock these out. Alright. And people are going to think you are a magician. You made those raviolis? I don't believe it. Absolutely. Right? Because they're going to come out so nice, they're going to look like you bought them at the store. Alright. Don't overfill. Okay? Now, take your brush again. Just moisten any exposed dough. Okay, going all around. This is going to be, again, our glue. Okay. Now remember that other sheet. We need a top and a bottom. Okay. So now, lay that over and press down. Right. So now it's starting to form one pocket of ravioli. I'm going to trim up my edges a little bit. Save them, right? Okay, I need a little room because I'm going to take, here's where the magic happens, my rolling pin, okay? And before I do that, I need to make room. Always have a sheet, like a half sheet pan or a cookie sheet with some parchment, because I'm going to lay down some semolina over here. Okay, this is going to keep our raviolis from sticking. Alright, so now here's where the magic happens. You're just going to take your rolling pin and go right over the form. Don't be afraid to apply the pressure, because this is where it's going to cut out your dough, your raviolis. Okay, you're gonna have this little extra piece of dough from around the edges. Now, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna move this right here so we can see. Flip over, okay? And look, it's a beautiful thing. It looks like you bought those at the store. They're plump, they're full, they're sealed. All right, now what do we do with them at this time? Now, today, we're gonna cook them immediately. But however, what I usually do is I put these in the freezer on a sheet pan, and you can layer more parchment on top and then keep making layers of ravioli. Throw the whole pan in the freezer till they're solid. Let me turn up my heat. We're getting ready to cook those babies. All right, when they're frozen, I break them apart because they're all perforated, okay? I'll put the portion in a Ziploc bag, keep them in my freezer. Anytime I want ravioli, fresh ravioli, out of the freezer, boiling water, toss in the sauce, okay? So, I'm going to separate these. Okay, you can see how easily they separate. You cannot dry these. So I guess before when we made our noodles, I said you can dry those. This has fresh filling inside, okay? Most raviolis will have protein of some sort. So you gotta either refrigerate them, freeze them, or cook them. They can't sit out and dry. All right, so these are all ready to go. We're gonna wait for our water to come to a rolling boil, heavily salted water. Gabish, gabish. Okay, now I'm gonna put this aside. Now we're gonna move on to the sauce that's gonna accompany our ravioli. All right, so I said before that it's gonna be Salsa Di Pomodoro. All right, everybody knows, or maybe you don't, that pomodoro in Italian means tomato. Okay? Pomodoro. If we break that apart, what does that mean? Pomodoro. Okay? Basically means apple of the ground. The tomatoes way back in Italy were golden. And they were yellow tomatoes, and they called those basically apples of the ground, turned it into, that means pomodoro, golden apple, is what a tomato was back in the day. However, over time, obviously they come to be the tomatoes we know now, but the name has stayed the same. Pomodoro. All right. So, I'm gonna turn up my water's at a rolling boil. Okay, I'm just gonna tend to that a second because now I'm gonna turn up the heat on my pan so that I can do what? Make my salsa di pomodoro. If you remember the last week, we made a quick sauce aglio olio. All right, similar type of quick sauce. However, this time we're going to use a special ingredient. Instead of just using basic canned tomatoes, we're going to use cherry tomato. I love this ingredient. It's one of the best ingredients that I found. Go to a local Italian importing store, see if they have canned cherry tomatoes. They're so sweet, and the sauce is so quick. You basically wait till they pop in the pan, and that will mean the sauce is just about done. Okay, I'm going to create a little bit of space because I want to show you a technique for one of the ingredients in the pomodoro sauce, and that is fresh basil. Okay, now we're going to use garlic, olive oil, peperoncino, the pomodoro, and we're going to finish it with a chiffonade of fresh basil. All right. Who remembers what chiffonade is? Did we ever talk about that one? Chiffonade is a classic knife cut. That means strips. All right, little strips of either greens, some kind of lettuce, herbs, etc., etc. All right, so we're going to finish this with a chiffonade of fresh basil. Here's how we do that. First of all, you take your basil leaves, and what you want to do is line them up, okay? And I usually look for the largest ones first, and then I will stack them. one on top of the other. Okay? Many times you see recipes and they don't tell you, they say, oh, a chiffonade of basil. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to show you what that means. Alright? And why do we do this? It's usually for presentation, because at the end, even though we are going to put some in the sauce, I'm going to sprinkle some back over the top. Okay, so our leaves are all lined up, right? I'm going to roll it up like a little cigar, okay? And I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to cut nice thin strips. Now, one thing that you should know about fresh herbs. These aren't going in at the start of cooking time. Right? Fresh herbs should always go in at the end of cooking time because they do not, their flavor doesn't last that long. If you're using dried herbs, they go in the beginning. Alright, so pan's hot. We're going to put in our olive oil. Okay, we're going to put in our 3 cloves of garlic that have been minced. Now again, be careful, you don't want to burn that garlic because it'll get bitter on you. Okay, so we get it lightly browned. Okay, I'm going to add a little pepperoncino, as we should with every dish. And look at our beautiful cherry tomato. Okay, a little salt. Alright. Now, this is a very, very quick sauce. Okay? I guess you could say a Salsa Di Pomodoro. It's a marinara. Okay? Just going to stir that. This is not one of those tomato sauces that cook all day long, oh, 2 days, and that's usually a sugo that we call that cooks long and slow. All right, we're going to turn the heat down. Ravioli water is boiling. We're going to add our ravioli. Due, 3, 4, okay. Raviolis are in the water. And when do we cook those? Usually maximum 2 minutes. Like I said, when they come up to the top, when they float, good to go. Sauce is simmering here. Oh, magnifico. I'm going to add a little crushed black pepper. With a little stir. I think I need to taste. One little taste. Always taste your food, right? Always taste as you're cooking. Bellissimo. Oh my God. The freshness of those tomatoes. All right. So here's what we're not going to do. We're not bringing these to the sink. We're not pouring them into a strainer. Why? Because they're delicate. They're filled. We don't want them exploding open. So we're going to just take, scoop, and again, gently toss, right? Always toss. We're going to add some of our basil, basilico. Now, I'm going to save some of this. It's going back over the top. All right, I'm going to add a little touch more crushed red pepper because I like a little more of the kick in there. Get our plate. Now, just because you have all that sauce in the plate doesn't mean in the pan that you're going to use it. Only take out what you need. Oh, now, for this recipe of the sauce, for the recipe for the cheese filling, if you want, get those. I put them up on Facebook under the page Pastamore. All right, so here's where we finish with our fresh basil chiffonade. That's a beautiful thing. Buon appetito. Until next time, this is Chef Joe Mele, and I can't wait to see you again. Ciao, ciao.